What's up, guys? It's Justin Stenstrom from Elite Man Magazine, and in this video I'm going to talk about the power of letting go. So what I mean by the power of letting go, I mean essentially surrendering to that which you can't control and letting all of those feelings and emotions that are attached to that thing that you can't control, just letting them go and letting them be, and carrying on with your own life so you can move forward in whatever that you want to do and stop being dragged down by that past event. The famous quote, "That which you resist persists," is attributed to Carl Jung. What he actually said was, that which you resist not only persists, but actually grows in size, and they just kind of shrunk it down over time. But either one of them are actually very accurate. And the thing is, when you resist something, whether that be an anxiety or a depression or something that's come up in your life, a loss, a grief, a breakup, a job loss, whatever that thing is, the more that you resist it, the more that you go against it, the more you try to fight against that thing, the more it actually persists in your life, the more you're going to have that thing in your life and get that which you don't want. You could also think of it as surrendering to the moment or surrendering to the present moment. I know surrender is it has a kind of a negative connotation to it, like surrendering is defeat or that you're losing or giving up on yourself, but it's really not in that regard in this sense. It's more of surrendering to the fact that you can't control a certain thing or that you can't control everything, and instead focusing on the things that you can control. When you surrender to that which you are resisting, you're actually accepting and embracing the things that you can control. This same concept I've applied time and time again in my life, whether that was overcoming a fear of riding roller coasters, which at one point was my biggest fear out of everything in my entire life. Like, I hated roller coasters, would get deathly sick every time I rode a roller coaster, but one day I just decided I was going to stop resisting that and actually went along with it and started to enjoy the ride. Even though at first I didn't enjoy it, when I changed my mindset of resisting against that and cowering in the corner of the roller coaster in fear, instead of doing that, I put my hands up, started yelling, screaming, shouting, and actually getting into the moment of being on that roller coaster ride. What actually happened is that whole fear and all the doubts and insecurities and just crippling anxiety surrounding the roller coaster ride just completely disappeared. It's really that powerful. It works in real time. If you stop resisting something, especially when it comes to fears or anxieties, panic attacks especially, if you stop resisting that thing that's causing you anxiety or panic, it will literally go away almost instantly. It's that powerful. And this same concept can be applied across the board, whether it is a job loss, a financial loss of some sort, a breakup, a grief, loss of a loved one. When you're fighting against an emotion, when you're resisting that emotion, that natural emotion that wants to pop up inside you, the more you fight against it, the more power it has and the more it actually springs about and gives you more of it. The key here is to actually embrace those feelings, embrace those emotions that come up, even if they're negative, even if they're bad, even if you're scared of those emotions. The instant that you embrace all of them 100% fully, they then have no power over you. And that's the moment when you start to get the power and you can move on from those emotions. Whether it is, say, watching the news or getting stuck in a traffic jam or arguing with your spouse, these are all stressful situations and they normally would trigger you to feel a certain type of emotion. And most of the time you want to fight back and suppress that emotion. You want to hide from that emotion, especially the anxious emotions. You want to pretend like they don't exist or ignore them and try to do something else. But the minute you just accept that those emotions are happening, that those negative emotions are triggering you, you accept those emotions fully and become non-reactive, more observant of them, as sort of like an outsider, just observing what's going on in your body, what's happening to you in that current moment. The instant you start to do that is the instant you start to pull away from those emotions and take back control of the things that you have control over, the emotions that you want to start having, the favorable emotions from that point forward. They start to spring about because you no longer are reactive to those emotions that have naturally popped up. You're actually just observant of them as an outsider, and then you can almost come back in and bring those favorable ones in instead and replace them. So practice every day, and I guarantee you're going to get better and better at letting go and not letting that negative stimuli come into your life and dictate your feelings and emotions thereafter. It's a good thing too to do meditation, which always helps with so many different things, but especially something like this can definitely tap into the ability to step into the present moment and not let the noise around you take over your space, take over your focus and what you want to do with the rest of your day. As you get better and better at letting go, you're going to be able to handle adversity better, challenges that pop up, failures that you have, setbacks that you have. All of these things are going to be so much easier to overcome because you're practicing this skill. You're building this skill that you have inside of you to overcome anything that comes your way. You're doing it every single day throughout the day in different situations. And then when something big happens like this, it's almost secondary at that point. It's just natural for you to, of course, you're going to feel some type of emotions for a certain while, especially if it's a loss of a loved one, something major like that. You're still going to have that grieving period. It's going to be normal and natural to have that. But you're not going to get stuck in that period for too long like so many people do, and they don't know how to get past that. When you're working on the skill, this allows you the ability to, over time, get better and better at it, and then when something big happens, it's much easier to overcome that issue and move on with your life. Well, that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like below. Also, share with your friends if you think they can benefit from watching this video. And as always, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, hit the notification bell to get notified the instant we release a new video, and follow me on Instagram at Justin Stenstrom.